So I have seen many streamers take this survey. Apparently, it takes like, anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour to 2 hours. Okay. So this is a survey on how, like this is made by Jordi. This is a website. This is a survey on how you would like, as a player, to see Classic Plus. So let's take a look. So start intro survey. So apparently there's like 5, 8, 12 survey plus an intro survey. So this is going to be a lot of questions. So let's get through them. So Classic Plus introduction survey. Hi there. Thanks for taking the time to do our Classic Plus intro survey. We think this will be a great time to get the community's initial thought on the features. We'll be asking you questions in 4 sections: demographics and server game settings, in-game systems, the world, and the player. Most questions are optional, however, the first handful are required so we can gather demographic data. Which faction do you usually play for the Alliance? Which race would you consider for your main? Human. What class do you consider your main? Obviously, Paladin. How old are you? I mean, I'm in my 30s. I don't want to narrow it down, so prefer not to say, okay, for you guys. But I'll tell you, I'm in my 30s. I don't want to say whether I'm in my, like, yeah. I want to keep my age private. So, how often do you play WoW a week? I play WoW a lot, 40 plus hours for sure. What is your experience with the various iteration of Vanilla, Classic, World of Warcraft? Check all that apply. So 2000 Vanilla WoW at launch, OG Gang Gang, Classic Anniversary, Classic Relaunch. I played a little bit. Only expansions beyond Vanilla. I've never played Vanilla. Okay, so like this. So basically all of them, right? I played a little bit in the 2019, but it wasn't like extensive. What role do you usually play? DPS. Which regions do you play from? EU. Which of the following labels describe you? Choose as many as you feel is accurate. PvP player, completionist, hardcore raider. I mean, not really hardcore raider, right? Because I don't think they're asking about WoW hardcore, but like raiding, right? So this describes me the best: PvP player and completionist. How likely are you to play Classic Plus? I'll play, but who knows for how long? Depends on the quality. That's my view on that. Would you pay a box fee for Classic Plus? If so, how much? Yeah, I mean, I don't really care about the money as long as it's good. I'll pay it 60 plus USD. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you feel about Classic Plus if they change how the game looked via Unreal Engine-esque graphics? Keep the graphics 2004 for sure. Modern WoW character models? No. Touch the models and I quit. We're gonna go like 3. Modern WoW character animations. Keep it classic. Number 2 for sure. Modern WoW spell effects. No, thank you for sure. Modern WoW UI. Let's go number 3. All right, so old UI is better for sure. I think the new UI, especially on retail, is Garbanzo. Auction House Gamer. Now, I mean, I do that like 3 weeks per 2 years, so that doesn't really count. How would you like Blizzard to handle the server rollout? Many servers that launch some PvE, some couple RP like vanilla servers. I'm not sure honestly. This is a pretty hard one. So there's like a lot of engineering engineering challenges with this, right? Because like how do you handle it when you eventually start getting dead servers? I think 1 mega PvP server with faction and balance enforced, and 1 mega PvP server with no faction balance enforcement. I think that's how we go for it. I think this is because then you get like layers, right? And I mean, server communities are great, but you can't dispute that eventually the servers will start dying, right? So you have to solve for that, and having a 1 mega server with layers, I think, is the best way to do it. Wait, this is actually also interesting. Only 1 mega PvP, 1 mega server PvP that lets players opt in, opt out from PvP. IG safe zones in town war mode. No, I think we do the PvP server. How would you feel if Classic Plus had an element of seasonal servers resetting every couple of years? Okay, I'm not sure. Fresh is a good thing, but I don't want to reset the servers. I don't want to lose my progress. Depends on a lot of factors, not sure. How do you feel about layers in Classic Plus? Layers are fine. I hate to say it, but it's the only sensible solution to servers dying. I hate layers. I hate layering. But it's like, in my opinion, a necessary evil. What's the difference between Classic and Classic Plus? Classic Plus is like new content for Classic in the spirit of Classic type gameplay, right? Next section, in-game systems. Should the raid size of raid be reduced from 40? Implement flex raiding, keep raids at 40, reduce required raid size. Reduce raid size with no flexibility. This is interesting. I feel like keeping raid size at 40, I'm kind of leaning towards that because it like makes the prospect of raiding like more epic. Is there a high level cap in Classic Plus? Nobody knows. This is what we're like trying to define right now with the survey. I'm gonna say I don't feel really strongly about this, but I think we keep the rates at 40. As I said, not very strong feelings about this. Should Dungeon Finder be implemented? No. No, absolutely not. I think Dungeon Finder is a mistake because it takes away from the social layer of the game. So I feel pretty strongly about this one. Now, there is the kind of a semi-social Dungeon Finder where, which is present at the moment in Classic Anniversary, where you list your group and you have to whisper to the person, and you actually have to still manually whisper to manual interact with the person, as opposed to like it finding people for you automatically, and then you like get teleported in, and you actually don't have to interact with the players at all. So I think the anniversary version of it is kind of okay. So, but I still am leaning towards the no. Should summoning stones outside of dungeons / raids be implemented? No. I think the traveling is part of the experience while leveling. And you can always get a warlock, right? Should there be heroic dungeons? I don't think so. I think different difficulties is gamification. I think I want an RPG experience. I don't have a gamified experience, and this kind of breaks immersion, right? So I would say no. I think you should have difficult normal dungeons instead. Should there be rated PvE? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Gamification for Classic Plus, I'm highly against it. Gamification can stay in retail. I think even a little bit of the gamification in retail should be removed, but the gamification should be kept in retail because That's just what retail is now. But Classic Plus, I think, no ratings, no nothing like that. Should there be rated PvP in Classic Plus? Rated Battlegrounds arenas. Yes. This is a little bit different. There's really no way, Yeah, I think, yes, this is gamification. But I'm a PvPer, and I think just doing random battlegrounds, not having any show of skill for that, dueling leaderboards would be awesome, right? So maybe a little bit biased, but I think this level of gamification is okay because then PvP players won't really have too much to do, right? But yes, I maybe it's a little bit of how to say it. What do you call it? Hypocrisy, because I said no gamification here, but this is just like based purely on feelings, not logic. So I think this would be good. Should AoE looting be implemented? No. I think there's a special feeling that arises from looting every single mob. And again, AoE looting, a part of gamification. What features of world buffs would you like to see in Classic Plus? No world buffs ever. World buffs don't belong in raids. So, absolutely this. I hate world buffs. They trivialize the content. They're an absolute pain to get. I don't think, it's just like, it's kind of a retail thing almost when you think about it, because you're just min-maxing, and at the end of the day, then everybody has the world buffs and everybody's trivializing the content. You have your characters are strong as a TBC character would be. So even if that makes it a little bit weaker, if they decide to make the world buffs weaker in Classic Plus, it's just like a daily, right? Like you spend a lot of time getting the world buffs. There's no fun in it. It's not an RPG element. It's just screw world buffs. I think they're horrible in every possible way. How would you feel if Classic Plus trimmed the capabilities of add-ons and WeakAuras? Obviously, you guys already know my stance on this. I'd be happy to see them go. I want add-ons to be completely removed. I don't want any add-ons. I want the playing field to be completely leveled for everybody. I don't want people like writing their own code to make the game easier. I want the game to have good enough of a UI and good enough telegraphing of like boss abilities and PvP abilities such that players don't need add-ons. And even if the telegraphing is good, I want to make sure that different players cannot get an advantage with add-ons over others. Back in the day, 20 years ago, many players considered having add-ons cheating, actually. So nowadays it's not like that. Nowadays it's accepted, but for me, I still remember that time back in the day, and yeah, I don't want add-ons, man. So I would like to see them take a similar but even stronger approach that they're doing on retail. Should the mount level requirements be lowered? Keep them same, I think. Should flying mounts be implemented? Absolutely not. This ruins the game. I was a strong opposer of flying mounts back in TBC. And yeah, I was posting, on the forums back 18 years ago, remove flying mounts. It ruins the game. You don't get the engagement with the players. It makes the world feel smaller. I think absolutely no flying mounts. Should guild banks be implemented? I think yes. I think guild banks are a thing that people are going to have regardless, and I think implementing guild banks does make it so that people have a harder time like running away with materials. Although ninja and guild banks, I think it creates some level of friction also. which makes for a good story, right? For good drama, which I think is good. Like EVE Online, imagine EVE Online. There's like a lot of intrigues in EVE Online that people hear about even if they don't play the game, and I think Guild Banks is like one of the parts of WoW that has potential to do that, but I don't think it's as important. So I would say yes, regardless of that. Should Classic Plus have no achievements? I would say no, even though I'm a big achievement hunter. I think it's a gamification, so you can keep achievements to retail. Should reputations to be streamlined, made easier to level? I mean, this is like a really broad question. I'm not sure what exactly they're asking about here. Like, what is the object of the question? Like, what is the purpose? Like, are they talking about current reputations or future reputations? I mean, I'm gonna say I have no opinion on that. How do you feel about adding Transmog to Classic Plus? Transmog bad. Transmog is bad. Is again gamification. I think a big part of Classic and PvP especially is you're able to tell by just looking at the player how good they are, how geared they are. You know what is their power level, and I think Transmog ruins that. So absolutely not. I would not like that. I would not appreciate having that in the game. Should a separated collections inventory be implemented? Toys and mounts, no. It's again, it goes in line with my answer to the achievements. It's a gamification. It makes players basically obliged to collect stuff like this. If you have a specific inventory for everything, including toys and mounts, the players only collect what they really want and not for not collect everything for the purpose of getting everything. So should Classic Plus allow the GDKPs? I'm a little bit torn on this one. So GDKP is obviously ideal system for the dead gamer because you can kind of gather gold, and you don't have to be in a guild, right? And then your gold is the DKP that kind of transcends the raid, so you can bring your DKP to another raid, and then you can get the loot there. So it's ideal for the dead gamer who can't raid on a schedule. On the other hand, it basically is pay to win. So I think I would say if Blizzard really cracks down on gold selling, you can allow GDKPs. If not, you cannot do it. I know Blizzard is not going to be able to do that, and for that reason only, I'm going to say no. However, I also strongly doubt that they will be able to enforce this properly, as they are not able to do it properly right now. So this is my view on it. Should the level cap be ever increased from 60? No opinion really. Depends how long after the launch, would have to see. Right, so not sure about this one really. Next section, the world. Should Classic Plus have new zones? Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I think Turtle Bow has new zones, right? And people enjoy that. So I would say so, yes. If yes, Warren, Azeroth or Beyond would be okay with you for these zones to be. I think anywhere, really. I mean, I think I would say anywhere on Azeroth plus Outland. But they don't have that option, right? I don't want like Argus Courage, actually. But like Outland, is okay. But let's say anywhere on Azeroth. Should new content be added for leveling? Quests, low-level zones, dungeons. Sure, why not? I don't see a reason not to. Should leveling be sped up? No, I think that's the best part of Classic, right? Ever. Like, A lot of people wanna go past that experience. Mainly because they did it like multiple times already, right? But especially for your first character, I would keep it the same pace as classic or even slower. Should there be more class-specific quests? I mean, I don't really care. Sure, why not? Should there be more epic quest lines? Yes. Everybody loves these. Rogue Delar, Scepter of the Shifting Sands. I think everybody would answer yes to this question. Nobody that would say no. Everybody loves these quest lines. Everybody remembers them. All right. So, which of the following best describes how you'd like to see changes in Classic Plus to old rates? Soon as needed for any change in play power, but keep the spirit of the original raid, add more complex, difficult mechanics similar to Season of Master System Discovery for a fresh challenge, do above plus add new bosses and areas within them. I would say do all of above plus add new bosses and areas within them. I'm not interested in killing Ragnaros for the 1000th time with the exact same mechanics. I want to see something new. If I'm to do PvP, PvE in Classic Plus, I think Season of Discovery was great. Even though I didn't play it, it was pretty decent. Yeah. Should there be new raids? Yeah, absolutely. Propose raids that already exist in the world, plus create some new interesting content like Scarlet Enclave. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the whole point of Classic Plus. So I would say yes. Section 4, the player. Should Classic Plus have new playable races? And if so, which of the following categories would be acceptable? I would say no new races. I think it like, especially like when they added like pandas, dude, and when they added like Drakthir, it's just stupid. It's just stupid. Just keep it simple, easy, you know. Uh, the original like Lord of the Ring derived races, and we go for that. Your standard RPG. Should Classic Plus have new classes? I'm a little bit torn on this. I would say, I mean, like, I know, like, WoW Ascension has a lot of this stuff, but it's a little bit specific. I would say no. You know, maybe later on. Maybe later on. How about that? Should new race slash class combos be added? Original combinations are iconic, in my opinion. Don't touch them. Yeah, we don't want to know Tauren rogues up in here. Okay. Should the horde have paladins and lions, shamans? Yeah. I would say so. I think this is a change that I would make. You can have like dwarf shamans, and you could have like, I don't know what paladins, what paladin class, like race. This would be. I have to think about it. Maybe you put in blood elves just for that, just paladin blood elves. But you can do any other paladin, like any blood elf races. Yeah, maybe I would do this. Yeah, I think it will streamline the experience a little bit more, and it will be better for faction balance. Should classes be reworked? New base spells and class or combination. some new spells that modernize ability rotation just don't completely change them. Yeah, I think they went too far with Season of Discovery. But you should have some changes. So I would say like right in the middle, right here, some new spells that modernize ability rotation. For example, red paladins, just don't completely change them. Yeah, I would go for that. I think nobody wants to play red paladins in classic how they are. You know, I think you have to have buttons to press, but like I wouldn't introduce like Wrath of the Lich King abilities like they did in SOD. Alright. So, of the following, what is the most important change needed to raid buffs in Classic Plus? This question refers to 1 hour long buffs. Leave it as it was in vanilla. I think it's like a flavor thing. I think it's okay. Leave it as it was. Should talent specialization be reworked? Yeah, I want to see reworks across the board, I would say. Well, let me think about it a little bit more. So I think the original talent trees are kind of iconic. But at the same time, there's like a lot of dead talents and cookie cutter specs. So I think I would take the same approach that I would like them to take with the retail talent trees, and that is to not necessarily make the talent trees deeper, but make them wider so we have more spec diversity and more fun builds, but you're not necessarily able to get everything. So I would say yes, I would like to see the reworks. Should a new 4th talent specialization be added? Maybe later on. Maybe later on. Let's go for no new talent specs at least at the beginning. Maybe you can add them later. Should every specialization be competitive in both PvE and PvP? Yes. I would say every specialization need to be viable in all scenarios. Should dual specialization be implemented? I would say yes. Should a new profession be added? No, originals are fine. Should professions be updated to have more endgame relevance? I would say yes. I'm not a robot. Was this... Dude, this whole thing was one survey. This was the intro. Holy shit, man. What? And then you have like 12 surveys remaining. Okay, this is gonna be a long ass stream, I guess. Okay, world, let's go. Holy shit. Quick 15 minutes intro. Okay, dungeon surveys, lore survey, quest and leveling rates, zones. Okay, let's go for dungeons. Pick the top dungeons you enjoy leveling in. Deadmine, Shadowfang Keep, Maradon, Blackrock Depth, Temple of Atal Hakar, Nomergan. These are probably my favorites. Now pick the top 3 dungeons you think need a major revamping. Guys, what dungeons need revamping? Stockades, Ragefire Chasm. I make them longer. I make them more epic. Far from that, I think they're honestly okay. Maybe Graveyard? I don't know. They're pretty okay, I would say. All the classic dungeons are iconic, are really nice. I just make maybe Stockades longer, Ragefire Chasm longer, deeper. At launch, given a finite amount of developer resources, should more effort be put towards creating entirely new dungeons or improving old dungeons? Try to balance between the two, I think. Yeah, I think, yeah, they can make some minor changes for the existing dungeons, but Don't go too crazy with that because they're already good, right? I would definitely add new ones though. I think that's the whole point of Classic Plus. Should more open world dungeons be added? Areas like Jaden and Felwood, Stormguard Narate, Dark Whisper Gorge. Yes, I love those things, and I think they create a lot of friction between players. Also, on PvP servers, people are gonna be competing for that. And imagine like you're clearing the dungeon, and then you get like a horde group behind you, and now you're competing for the dungeon. So add lots of more of them. How do you feel about rare spawns inside the dungeons? I want to see more of them. They're exciting. I just don't want them to be like scoutable. And thing is, people like scout for them and they farm them, right? I don't want it to be scoutable. I think that it would be good to have it actually be rare and exciting, right? I mean, I think this is kind of a retail approach, almost, but because they would want to make you they would want to prevent you to do that in retail, right? It's like, but I think it's a little bit degenerate, right, to be able to scout for it. So I would like to see some actual rares, and then you're really happy and really lucky if you get the item that you want, right? Think about SGC, everybody's like super happy when they get SGC. Everybody's happy when they get the cape from Stratholme Undead. How do you feel about lockout caps? I hate lockout caps. They're fun detect solution to a problem that isn't a problem. Yes, exactly. How do you feel about the dungeons having a rotating run bus that will spawn with a specific loot? Yeah, they're fun. I think they should keep that. Should there be heroic dungeons in Classic Plus? No, they've already asked this, right? So gamification. I don't want to see any gamification. Should there be Mythic Plus style dungeon ladders and progression? No. Gamification. We already answered that. Should certain bosses or areas be locked behind requiring a specific class? Rogue unlocking door or communing with an animal? I think yes. I think it's an RPG element that should be preserved. Should player power chase items to be extremely low drop rate items in dungeons? Should they be only cosmetic drops? I think it's kind of fun to have something to chase, even if the chance I get it is super small. I think they should keep those items. Should there be solo challenges? Delves, Mage Towers, etc. I'm a little bit torn on this. I think they could have it. I think they could have it, but it's again, they should keep like a sweet balance, right? They should not turn the MMO into a single player experience, but they should still have a couple solo challenges. Just a small amount for people to be able to like show off, right? So I would say yes. Should Dungeon Finder be implemented? No. Should summoning stones be there? No. We already answered that. Okay. That one was faster. Lore survey. How would you rate the store as a whole in Vanilla WoW? I love your idea of VTubing with the Warcraft model. Well, appreciate that. Thank you, man. Is this a Blizzard made survey? No, it's not. It's not. So, how would you rate the story as a whole in Vanilla WoW? I think Warcraft 3 story is S tier, but they didn't do a great job of carrying that over into Vanilla WoW. Like Wrath of the Lich King was great. But I would say somewhere around the 7. Not official Blizzard survey, no, this is community driven, man. Do you feel I almost thought they did something good once. Oh, there you go, man. Do you feel Classic WoW does a good job explaining the story it's telling, e.g., conveying threads, dropping clues? I mean, it depends what they mean by Classic WoW. Is it just Classic WoW or is it TBC and Wrath as well? I'd say somewhat, right? What is the best major story told in Classic WoW by Blizzard? Lich King, obviously. Nothing comes even close. I mean, that part of it is told in vanilla, right? Lich King, everybody knows this. Nobody will disagree with this. This is like everybody will say this. What is the worst story where in Classic WoW? What is the worst story? I have to think about that. Um, guys, help me out here. What is the worst story? I nothing comes to mind really. Hmm. I need like a minute, and I need some suggestions by chat. Uh, I can't think of a bad story. Can anybody think of a bad story in Vanilla WoW? I'm getting kind of stuck in here. I guess chat can think of anything either, because uh, okay, I don't know. I'm just. Is it a required question? I think it's required. Okay, I'm just gonna say can't think of anything. Should Caverns of Time be added? Centaurs? I don't know. I think it's a good story with the centaurs. I don't think there's something like bad necessarily. Should Caverns of Time be added as a tool from? No, I think the TBC style Caverns of Time were okay. But I think anytime you add time travel to a like a game or to a story, it starts to add everything, starts to fuck everything up essentially. So I would say no, because I don't trust them to handle time travel properly, right? This is not Steins Gate that we're talking about. Um, so I would say no, especially like how they've handled fucking Warlords of Draenor. Oh Jesus, no, please no. Should the minor factions repetitions be expanded on? Yeah, sure. Come on, like why do you want me to click at these things? Yelkis Magram, Bloodseed Buccaneers, Ravenhold. Alright, Syndicate. Aside from that, I don't really care. Is it important to you if the story told in Classic Plus leads from face to face in a cohesive way? Not a big deal to me. I'm gonna say it's not a big deal to me. Should each phase or a cluster of phases conclude a storyline before picking up a new arc, or can stories run concurrently? No, I think you should have an overarching grand storyline with like a grand villain that stretches along, across multiple years. A little bit like what they're doing with World Soul Saga. So it's fun buns. Dude, actually, the question is a little bit different. Okay, I'm gonna say no opinion. Looks like a regular stream chat died. That's weird. Central Desolate storyline was the worst story, followed by Grim Totem stuff. Oh, I saw your comments about the centaurs, but I don't think they're like a bad story. I don't know. To be honest, it's as I said, it's no, not a, I don't know what is the like worst storyline. Which of the following villains would you consider to have a compelling story? Choose up to 5. Onyxia obviously has a compelling story. Nefarian has a compelling story. Arthas, obviously. Duh. Sally Whitemane, Edwin Van Cleef. That's 5. Submit. All right, so we got 2 out of 5. We're getting through this, okay. Quests and leveling survey. How do you feel about the leveling cadence of vanilla World of Warcraft? 120 to 160 hours to level cap. Honestly, back in the day, people used to spend 30 days on leveling. That's how long I spent 20 years ago. I think it's too quick. People have min-maxed this. So I would even make it slower. I would make leveling the main part of the game. And you know, the end game a little bit less of that. Should Classic Plus have phase level caps like in SOD? No, I think you should allow people to go really hard on leveling, and I think you should have people that are at 60 when others are already at others are like at 25, and it's like it creates like legendary players on the server. It creates competitiveness. It creates good stories in the community. So I think you should have that. Like everybody remembers like Athene grinding to max level back in the day and just beating everybody else to it. Everybody was talking about that. Everybody remembers like people racing for world first. Everybody remembers Joker, you know. Made Joker world famous now. He's a huge streamer. And before streaming was a thing, before social networks were a thing, I think it made players on individual servers legendary on those particular servers, right? Now, obviously, that's not gonna happen, right? You have a global community now, but when the communities were local to the server, this was also really, really good. Rank these quest types in terms of how much you like them. Okay, dude. Oh. Also, losing fastest rate leveling the teams by 2 hours. I don't remember that guy at all, to be honest. Okay, kill a specific raid boss. I think we're gonna put at the bottom. Quest objective isn't fully explained. You need to figure it out. I think it's gonna be high up there, but like kill number of enemies, it's gonna be good. Loot X number of enemies, it's gonna be good. Fetch this item for place, bring it back to me. It's gonna be maybe like that. Escort is NPC. I don't like escorts. Enemy drops a quest item that begins a new quest. It's high up there. Discover this location. I'm not that worried about it. Craft X number of things. Definitely down there. Do X thing, but you have time limit. Nah. Yeah, I think this is the ordering that we're gonna go for. Okay. Do you like the flow of quests in Vanilla WoW? That leads you from zone to zone in a natural way. Yeah, it flows well. Yeah, I think so. I think it's perfect. I think it's just right. That's why WoW classic leveling is so good. So I think, as I said, it's just right. Should there be more quest hubs? Nah, it's okay. It's okay. How do you feel about puzzle quests that are more complicated to complete than kill 10 boars? Few here or there are fine, just don't do it too often. Gamifies WoW. I think few here and there are okay. How do you feel about repeatable quests? I hate them. No, we don't want them. No dailies. Gamification, grinding, keeping the players engaged. No, we don't want that. Should there be daily, weekly world quests? No. That goes hand in hand with what I said to the last question. Should every class get more quests on top of the already existing ones? I mean, I'm not really... I don't feel strong. Like, why not, right? I don't think it's too important, but they feel pretty good. They feel epic when you do them. How do you feel about group quests? Yes, I love group quests. I think it's nice to have like a group quest area per zone, and it's something you can look forward to. And you find a group. It might be a little bit annoying, but you know, they feel epic. Should quest reward gear be puffed? How do we feel about that, boys? I mean, sometimes there are nice quest rewards in vanilla, right? Once in a while. I think once in a while, having a really good item is okay from like a very long quest line. So actually, that's leave it as it was in vanilla because there are already good quest rewards like Black Hand's Breath and so on, right? Once in a while. So yeah, that's how it should stay. Should attunements be streamlined? No, 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 no. No. Attunements are great. Should attunements be account wide? Should attunements be account wide, guys? No, I would say no because then eventually nobody's gonna be doing them, right? And people won't have newcomers won't have any option to do it because everybody was playing alts, and then you can find a group. So I would say no. If Classic Plus had prestige levels, you could level above 60, but gain no player power. This is gamification. This is no place. Classic Plus, in my opinion. What if the prestige levels gain small bonuses? No prestige levels. There be heirloom type items? No. Heirlooms ruin the game. Makes the game easier. You're a new player, and everybody's now rushing through content and ruining your experience because everybody's in heirlooms, making your experience too easy. How would you feel if your alts got increasingly more XP to more max level characters? No increasing on XP. Should Classic Pass allow XP toggling for twinking? I would say yes. Twinking is cool. Chemsito said, good morning, yo, what up? Morning, Chemsito. How are you, bro? I'm gonna say yes, and I'm gonna say I'm not a robot, and that's another part finished. Okay. So let's go rate survey. I'm gonna need to get a drink in a little bit. Give me a minute. I mean, I think we're gonna complete the world part, and then I'm gonna take a quick break for a bathroom and a drink. Should there be level up rates that give strong items but require 10 plus players? Yeah, I think I liked it. SOT BFD, Nomergan. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I love that idea. What are the like level up rates? Sword style. I think that's amazing. So big yes to that. What do you feel about catch-up rates? Like AQ 20 and ZG were fine. I am a little bit skeptical about the whole concept of catch-up. I think you should still, to some degree, go through the content. So you shouldn't overdo it. But they don't really have the answer that I want to say. I would take a middle ground on this, right? I don't want to catch up and, you know, oh, now you invalidated everything. No, I just want like a little bit of more decent gear. Like, I think ZG and AQ20 do it in a perfect way, right? So I'm gonna say I don't really care so long as the content is fun. How do you feel about the RP elements in raids? Too soon execute this phase 1. I think we can keep the RP. But keep it to like only the epic bosses, which are actually like a challenge. Don't do RP everywhere. How do you feel about raids getting nerfs? No, 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 no nerfs. Absolutely not. Let players struggle. Given the choice of a new raid being spoiled by PTR but launched relatively bug-free versus a complete unseen raid but fairly buggy, which would you prefer? I prefer, for sure. Well, I don't want it to be buggy either. But I don't want any WoW content to be spoiled by betas, alphas, or PTRs. I want it to be new. I think having PTRs and having everything already like figured out before the expansion or a patch even comes out, I think is horrible. I prefer going into it blind and then figure it out on the fly, right? Rank your ideal raid size. Okay. I think 10 man raids are okay. 40 man, 10 man, 25 man. I don't know. The rest doesn't matter. Can imagine a post-Nax real raid and then a catch-up raid after that. Post-raid gets replaced by another raid, but Nax stuff should be the stuff you want. Yeah, I don't want to have a catch-up. Yeah, I do not. Some mild, minor catch-up, but not the type of catch-up that we have on retail. That's too much. I think keep the catch-up logic as it is, right? In the sense of give me a minute. I need to fix one thing. With my VTuber avatar, where is it? Okay, whatever. Gonna have to figure this out. Okay, I don't know. I can't. Okay, I fixed it. Sorry. Yo, I'm here. So I think just keep it to the level of AQ20 and CG, and we're gonna be okay. How do you feel about raids and bosses require resistances? Yeah. I want resistances. I think it's an RPG element and it really is good for the game in general, right? It gives you something to strive towards. You get your Saffron gear set, you get your Molten Core Fire resistance set, AQ Nature resistance set. I think this is what should stay. And it's you shouldn't like introduce new types of resistances per tier, right? You should keep just the basic RPG style resistances for fire, nature, frost, whatever, and then maybe have better resistances coming up in the next year or whatever, like better items for that. But the resistances that you got for the previous year, the items should still be viable there, just a little bit less so. So you should, for example, in Classic, how is it right now? I used gear from Molten Core that I used to tank Ragnaros. I use it on 4 Horsemen. I think this should still be the thing. But you should still be able to, for example, get like something a little bit better in Axtramas, right? Should raids have multiple difficulty levels? No. It's gamification. I don't want to see that. How would you want the difficulty of raids in Classic Plus to be? I would make them... this is like a balance, right? Because if you make them hard, the game dies. Unfortunately. If you make the raids hard, you will kill off the game. If you make the raids easy, it's not gonna create an environment where players see others and strive to be those. So I think you have to take a middle ground. So let's say SOD. SOD style. If there were different difficulties of raids, how should the loot differ? Better stats and bonuses. I don't higher rarity. I don't know. Like I don't want this, so I don't really care. I think, but if you had them, you should have better stats, high rarity, yeah. Should cooldowns reset? Nah. I mean, again, gamification. This can be done in retail, but we're talking about having an RPG style experience. How do you feel about world bosses? Yeah, I'd keep it as it is. They're cool. How would you want the world bosses to look in Classic Plus? They should be instanced. Never be instanced makes them super lame and not fun. The race to target, defend attack is the best part. Yeah, I think if they should go even farther with this, and even on PvE servers, they should make the world boss areas a PvP area for free for all outside of your raid, and that way you can really compete for that and can really make a memorable experiences with them. How do you feel about limited time events like the AQ Gate event spawning? I'm a little bit torn on that. I hate FOMO. I think they should remove FOMO, but like the AQ opening was amazing. I'm torn on this. I'm really torn on that. Okay, I'm gravitating a little bit towards this, but I don't want there to be like FOMO rewards from them. I want to see the event, but just for the sake of the event. I don't want there to be exclusive rewards that are like that create FOMO. But just for the spectacle, you know, just for the RPG feeling. How do you feel about quests that require to enter multiple raids? Yeah, sure. Thunder Fury, Atiyesh. I mean, that's a legendary we're talking about. So, why is my cursor like lagging? What the hell? What is going on with my computer? Give me a second. I'll open the task manager, try to figure out what's going on. I don't know. Nothing's going on there. Okay, fine. Now it's fixed for some reason. So I'm gonna say don't you dare change these. I think if you're already getting a legendary, you can go do a couple raids, right? What do you feel about bosses cycling week to week? Some variety is fun, but changing it drastically is step too far. Yeah, I would say that. I would keep it around at that level. It's in classic. I think it's a sweet spot. How long should raid gear remain relevant? Current gear should be relevant for 2+ years, I think. Not all of it, but some specific items, like, you know, you have Quick Strike Ring, Onslaught Girdle, Drake Fang Talisman, Rejuvenation Gem, you know. I think every raid should have an item like that. That gives you a reason to go back there. I think it's really good. Should the phase schedule in Classic Plus reorder and the raids release? I think should Classic Plus just add more after Nax, or should we do like a new phase schedule? I think we do a new phase schedule. We've gone through that schedule many times. Should Classic Plus allow GDKPs? I would remove it because, as I said, I don't trust Blizzard to enforce RMT rules. Okay. World Zone Survey. You want new continents, worlds, dimensions added to Classic Plus. Depends if it's done well, of course. Check all you'd like to see. Not as the launch, but vanillified. Hyjal for sure, Eversong Woods, Outland, even Northrend, Twilight Island, Natal Parad, Gilneas, Emerald Dream. I always wanted to see Emerald Dream. I wanted to do Emerald Dream so bad. Emerald Dream for sure. Number one thing that I would like to see. Telabim. I want to see like South Seas expansion for sure. Everybody was always theorizing about that. Yeah, I think we go like that. Would you prefer Blizzard focus on improving existing zones? I think adding new ones. Should there be more fast travel? No. So I'm not gonna check any of those things. Should certain fast travel be unlockable? Nah, we keep the travel as it is. Would you want to see more rare spawns, rare events? Good question. I think rare spawns, again, they gamify the content. If your game is in such a state that you're camping rare spawns, something is wrong. I think the rare spawns should not drop anything amazing, but it should be really exciting when you encounter one. So it shouldn't drop like best in slot items, but it should drop like a bunch of materials, gold, you know, maybe a blue here and there that you can sell. Basically, they should be loot piñatas, and they should be extremely rare, so it's not a viable strategy to hunt for them. But when you find one, it's like, yo, holy shit, fuck, yes, we got a rare. You know what I mean? That really, it's not possible to farm them, but if you find one, you're really happy. That's the way I see it. Shouldn't incentivize players to look out for them specifically. How would you feel about the more open world mini bosses, akin the world bosses, but catered to 5 players? Oh, that's an interesting question. So a little bit like Silithus, huh? So there, how does that work? Do you summon them, or is that like a rare, like, or basically like the invasion bosses from the elemental invasions? Okay, I would say it's interesting. I would go ahead with that. It encourages players to play together, right? Should there be more PvP locations? Still it is Blood Moon. I like this. I like PvP, so I'm biased. Should the faces in Classic Plus limited Classic Plus feature limited time or rotating world events? Invasions. Yeah, I think so. It gives people something to do. Should the phases that Classic Plus progresses through change the world in a permanent way? Cataclysm? No. You want to have timeless zones. Absolutely not. Do not let the world evolve. Fuck that. Keep it as it is. Only add new stuff. Wait. Okay, no opinion. Submit. Okay. We got the world done. Now we have the player and systems. I'm gonna get a little bit of water. I'm gonna go to the bathroom and I'm gonna be back in like 3 to 4 minutes, okay? I am back. So, let's finish this. Let's take a look at this. So, we got 7 surveys left. Player. Classes and talent survey. How would you like the class balance in vanilla? WoW? It's pretty terrible. Number 3. Do you think any balancing needs to happen for Classic Plus? Absolutely. Some classes can be better at single target, but mostly similar. Classes can have different damage profiles, but they need important utilities. Okay, so this is basically how it is right now. I would say they should bring it a little bit closer together, but they should still keep them unique, right? Which of the following talent trees, in your opinion, need major revamping? Obviously, Retribution Paladin. Everybody knows that. Everybody's gonna agree with that. Arcane Mage. Everybody knows that. Demolock. I think nobody would want to raid with Demolock, but no, actually, it's like a PvP talent tree, so we're gonna keep Demolock. Survival. Everybody wants to revamp that as well. Protection Paladin, obviously. Shadow Priest, I think they need some. They're good for PvP, but I mean they should get like a PvE spec as well. So let's say Shadow Priest too. Balance Druid. I think Ferals are okay. They're viable. Protection Warrior, guys. Everybody hates on me for playing Deep Rot. I think it should be made superior for threat. Enhancement Shamans, I think they're not good enough for PvE. So yeah, I would probably go like this. Anything else? Yeah, I think it's perfect like this. Should new roles for some classes be added? I like how Tank Paladin is a new role. I like how Tank Paladin is on the same level as Tank Rogue, Tank Warlock, Melee Hunter, Healing Mage. It's on the same level, dude. They don't even consider the possibility that Paladins could tank. Holy shit. Whoa, the creators of the survey have fucking are fucking trolling dude with this. Oh my god. Should classes receive new or adjusted abilities? Yes. Crusader Strike, please. New abilities get added to classes. How should they be learned? Not Sod Runes. I think it's kind of degenerate to do that. I think via trainer or quests. It's perfectly fine. I don't need to go too crazy like with Sod. I think it a little bit too much gamification. I think it was fun, even though I didn't do it myself, right? I think it was for sure fun, but it's like again, we want to step away from excess gamification. A little bit is okay, but you don't want to overdo it. Otherwise, it stops feeling like an MMO. It starts feeling like retail. You have to have a good balance. How would you feel if the talent trees in Classic Plus were larger, meaning that went further down and require more point investment? Nobody is talking about my idea, which I keep talking about. I think you should make them wider and have more spec diversity. I don't know how people don't see this. You should make them wider. Andrea, appreciate the follow on Twitch. Thank you. Yeah. I would, as I said, so I'm gonna say not sure, depends on how they implement it. I would say keep them as shallow as they are right now, and both for retail actually and classic plus make them wider so we have more options to spec into. How would you feel if each talent tree had a capstone talent choice, meaning the bottom of the tree had two distinct talents, which you could pick only one? I mean, not sure, depends on how they implement it. Again, same thing. Should every class get a movement speed talent or ability? No, not every class should move quickly. Should Master Resurrection be a spell? Nah, I would say not. Just make wipes be costly. I think people are playing, of course, hardcore WoW, right? Then if you die there, you have to level all the way up again if you wipe in a raid. So I think for the softcore, I think I think a little bit of friction is absolutely okay. But on retail, I think on retail, this friction shouldn't be present anymore because the games have diverged so much. Should damage over time and heal over time spell be able to crit baseline? Only if they make it a new talent that you can spec into. I think it makes it interesting. Each class in Classic Plus have one spec tailored specifically PvP. Absolutely. At least one spec should be good for PvP. All specs should be viable in PvP. Maybe with the exception of tank specs that can be a little bit degenerate. Now we're now going to ask you a question about your experience with each class, and depending on your answer, we'll present you with questions about that class. We want to emphasize the goal. Goal is to balance all classes. What class would you consider your main or have a good base of knowledge about? Paladin. I'm not gonna pick warrior because I don't want to answer too many questions. So let's go with Paladin. How would you rate vanilla WoW's Protection Paladin kit in terms of solo content? I mean, 5? 5-man dungeon content? Like 6? Raid content? Like 3? PvP content? 2? Holy Paladin? Solo content? I mean, what are you really gonna do as a Holy Paladin? 2. 5-man dungeon content? 8. Raid content 10. Paladins are insane. PvP content, I mean, Paladins get easily locked down, but during Bubble they're overpowered. We're gonna go like 7. Retribution Paladin solo content. I mean, the kit is good, just it's super boring, right? So you're gonna say 7. 5-man dungeon content. We're gonna say 5 because we don't do any damage, but like early on they're really good. Like if it's early on, it's like 10 in hardcore, but if it's like later on, it's like 6. So maybe we do like 5, right? So maybe we do like 7 as well, actually. Raids 3. You don't do any damage. PvP. I mean, you get fucked by mages, right? So, and like casters in general. You can do like wreck bombs, which are fun, but that's about it. So we're gonna say like 7. Should consecration be a baseline ability? I mean, you should still have to spec for it, right? So let's say no. I think keep it as it is. How would you feel in addition to mana paladins as secondary resource, holy power? I'm a little bit torn on this. I guess if they added it, I wouldn't mind too much. So let's say I'm gonna say no opinion. I would be okay with either like Wrath of the Lich King style paladin or Cataclysm style paladin. So no opinion. Should Retribution Paladin atomization balance needing strength and spell power or just strength? Yeah, I think you should have both. I think it's cool. Assuming protection paladins get the support, it needs to be competitive. Should their itemization include spell power like in TBC or just strength defensive? It was cool the way it was. Yeah, I think it's nice for the flavor. What duration should Paladin Greater Blessing be in Classic Plus? I don't mind if it's 60 minutes. Why not? I mean, it does add some flavor, but I think this is like a part of the game which you can streamline. I don't mind it being 60 minutes. You know what? Fuck Paladins. Let's do 30 minutes. Keep some variety. Should Holy Paladin get additional resources power while in melee range with an enemy? Sure. I think it adds a little bit to the class fantasy. I don't mind that. Classic Plus differentiate between long-term buffs and short-term cooldowns by changing the names. So to hand, I think it's annoying that I have to rebuff Blessing of Might or whatever blessing I have by if I freedom myself. So I think yes. It's not about confusing. It's about the blessings overriding other blessings. At the same time, it's kind of cool that if I need to bop a tank for some reason, I'm able to remove his bop by casting a Blessing of Might or something on him. At the same time, if I can still do that with hands, right? Because I can use like Hand of Protection, and then if I wanna remove, the Hand of Protection, because maybe I've popped off some stacks that he has, maybe some bleed or some increased damage taken or healing reduction, I can still use like a Hand of Freedom on Hand of Sacrifice on him afterwards to remove the bop, so he gets the threat back. So I would say yes, I like the hand system. What version of seal twisting should be in Classic Plus? No seal twisting is dumb because it requires extra UI elements. Screw that. Actually, what's sword twisting? Sword steel stacking? TBC twisting. Seal of command persists for 400 milliseconds when switching to other seal. That's something they added later on, I think. Should Blizzard support a Shokaden? Yeah, for sure. Should turn under exorcism work all enemy types? No. Shouldn't. Leave it as it is. Keep the class fantasy. Don't streamline everything. Okay. Player. Profession survey. Let's take a look at professions, guys. How much do you enjoy the current profession system in Classic WoW? Yeah, I've enjoyed very much. 9. Rank the professions by how much you enjoy them. Dude, engineering number 1. Alchemy number 2. Mining. No, cooking number 3. First aid number 4. Mining, herbalism behind. Tailoring goes up here. Skinning. Fishing last for sure. Blacksmithing goes a little bit higher up. So I think like this. Yeah, that's about how much I enjoy them. I like alchemy. I like engineering. I like cooking. First aid, mining, herbalism. They're cool, but they're not that amazing. So. How would you useful do you believe the current proficiency system in vanilla for leveling? I mean, for rating number 10, of course. For PvP number 10. For leveling, depends on whether you're doing hardcore or not. If it's hardcore, it's a 10. If it's softcore, it's like 1. So we go 5, I guess. Go in the middle. Many of the ingredients required for crafting professions are too hard to find. No strong feelings. Should gathering professions be changed to secondary? No, absolutely not. Professions give XP. Yeah, I like gathering XP. I think it's a great addition. I feel it's like if you're far, I feel like you shouldn't be punished for doing professions in terms of your leveling speed, but you shouldn't do like crafting because then you're just gonna level completely through crafting. I mean, if you only gain experience on, I mean, let's talk about it this way. If you gain experience for the first craft of a certain type, then it's gamification because everybody's gonna craft everything once to level up, and it's gonna become like a part of that, right? So, I think only for gathering actually, yeah. Should professions be rebalanced? So to give more value to diverse profession choices, engineering less required. I guess that's a little bit like something that they did in TBC. I think engineering is awesome. And TBC, by the way, like they added like different bonuses. for different professions. Or maybe was that in Rad? Maybe that was in Rad. I'm not sure. But like you would have, for example, more stamina or strength, I think, if you had mining. It was like a passive stat, and then if you were a jewel crafter, you could have a special sockets. Yeah, I think it was Rat actually. So should they do that? No, I think it's don't fix what's not broken, I think. Hit Classic Plus add specializations. Yeah, I think they should add specializations to everything. I think it's interesting. Makes you feel more unique. Makes you feel wanted because you're the guy that has that specific what's it called? Profession type. 30 minutes after going to feed animals, back, survey still on. Yeah, it's a long one. I told you guys. It's a really long one. I've been recording this. We've been going for 1 hour, 23 minutes. I knew it was going to be long. Should gear crafted while leveling be more relevant and accessible? So basically, they're talking about like the blacksmithing chest plate, yeah. I think yes. I think they should make it more relevant. Add a little bit more items that are relevant for leveling from professions that you can chase. Yes. Should profession quests require that you learn the profession to complete or allow you to... Wait, what? Well, I don't understand what this is. Should profession quests require that you learn the profession to complete or allow you to purchase the items from somebody with that profession instead? Now, profession gates add unique questing experience. I think profession gated for sure. Should you be able to use gathering professions on corresponding elementals, like in TBC? Yeah, why not? It adds a flavor. Yeah. Should Black Lotus be made more accessible? No opinion. I think it's okay to have like rare crafting materials, but I don't think they should be necessarily required for raiding a little bit like they are for on classic hardcore. So I'm gonna say no opinion on that. I'm not a robot. Submit. Okay, guys, we got 5 surveys left. We're getting closer to the end. Player, races and faction survey. No new races. Keep the original 8. We already mentioned that. How do you feel about neutral races? I don't like them. Keep the Alliance versus Horde. If neutral races are added, at what level should they be forced to choose a faction? I mean, I don't care really. 1 to 10. Out of 10, how much do you like the current racial trait system? And wow. I mean, they need to rework it a little bit. The Horde is a little bit too OP. I'm gonna say 5. How do you feel about rebalancing? Balance them. Absolutely balance them. Orcs are insane, undead are insane, humans are insane, dwarf priests are insane. I think you should balance it. Absolutely. You should be allowed to play the race that you want and still be able to perform well. How would you feel about cross-faction play? No. No cross-faction play whatsoever. Alliance versus Horde is the core of WoW. How do you feel about the current faction dynamic? Critical to the lore. Should gear mounts be faction specific? Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Let's not get all retail-ish up in here, right? Let's not do that. Should certain content like quests or dungeons be exclusive to particular factions/races? Yeah, I think it adds flavor. Why not, right? I think it's definitely cool to have things like that. It's an RPG element. Should the regular auction house be cross-faction? No, no. Lionhelm didn't kill Classic. It would be nice if leatherworking was better. I would keep some Bob stuff that are profession/specialization specific. For example, epic weapons are BOE, but upgrade Bob. So you're talking a little bit like the TBC style content. Yeah, it was okay in my opinion. It would be okay if they did something like that. Although you do have, again, I do want them to not gamify too much. That's basically the theme of what I'm answering in the survey. I think retail equals gamification, classic equals RPG experience, right? Okay, systems. Let's go for systems. So economy, reputations, and more survey. Okay. How do you feel about gold sinks? I think gold sinks are good because you need to prevent inflation. Absolutely. You want to prevent the economy from going haywire with inflation, and you want to preserve the viability of the raw gold farms. That's how I feel about that. On being faction specific adds a lot of PvP mounts and wall drop mounts. Yes, I think yeah, you should definitely keep mounts being faction specific. Or is just misunderstood refugees. Ooh, oh shit. Oh no, dude. What kind of gold things would you be okay with being in Classic Plus? Good question. Basically, none of these. I would want to repair costs to be higher, basically. But they don't have that here. So let's say more expensive flight paths. Yeah, yeah. I would say that. That's the only one out of all of these that I'm okay with. Should Classic Plus have the bards that allow you to get high level any reputation from any high level dungeon, like in Wrath of the Lich King? No. There's no point in that. It's gamification. It's there's no. It kills the RPG element of okay, I'm getting a dungeon for a dungeon reputation for this particular faction from this particular dungeon because you know, because of lore reasons. So no, keep it as it is. Should Classic Plus allow you to level a certain reputation beyond Exalted? No. Gamification again. How do you feel about certain reputation being linked? Choosing one prevents you from gaining reputation. Yeah. Keep that. It's cool. It's flavor. Would you want to see an account-bound item in Classic Plus that give you double rep gains, that repetitions, commendations? No to commendations. Just I think keep it simple. Don't have any account-bound stuff. Don't have any like advantages for alts. I think it kind of kills the value of certain achievements, right? And it makes you play the game for shorter amount of time. I don't in general, I don't like catch up systems for alts. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but being able to have that experience over and over again, it's what makes Classic cool. Should Classic Plus feature additional minor repetitions with very difficult grinds that grant prestige items? Bloodstone Buccaneers. I'm divided on this one. I hate like huge grinds, but I see why people like that. So I'm gonna say there's like no opinion on that. Piotr says, I just don't want to see world boss buff items being sold on the auction house. I don't want to see like any world buffs, or I don't know what you're saying exactly, but I don't want to see anything. Almu Janambe said hi, what up? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. We're doing the Classic Plus survey. We're almost done with it, actually. We got 3 surveys left. Itemization survey. Dude, I have to say, this is so in-depth. Props to whoever made this, man. I mean, we know who made it, but I forgot his name here. Should some base items for PvP be solely available as a reward for PvP participation? Yes, very controversial statement. I would say absolutely, and vice versa. It cross-pollinates the player base. Absolutely, yes. Should classes get a strong buff when they wear a full set of gear in the highest equipable equipment type? I'll leave it the way it was. I think it's okay if warrior wants to wear leather. They already get penalized enough by losing the armor, so I would leave it the way it is. I don't think people should get penalized even more. Say gamification again. Say it again. I dare you. Double dare you. I bet I'm gonna say it a couple, like at least 3 or 4 times before the survey ends. Should progressive bases introduce gear that nearly always has higher base stats? No. Uh, uh, we want a little bit less power creep. As again, like Vanilla has managed to find a sweet spot with like old rates having best in slot items for the whole game. You like that certain items can remain powerful for several? Yeah, absolutely. That's I love it. I love it. That's what I was just talking about. The Chrono thing is something people want them to be BOE, so you can get world buffs, store them, and put them on the auction house. An insane idea. Yeah, I don't want world buffs at all, right? So, should legendaries in Classic Plus always be weapons or other gear slots too? I mean, always weapons. I think. Come on, always weapons. Like, I don't know. Like, I remember that necklace that dropped only for one person. I think his name was Noctin. I dropped off Baron Geddon, I think, and give you like the Shaman Lightning Shield kind of thingy. That was cool, but I think mostly it should be weapons. I don't mind if there should be it would be like 1 or 2 um, types of other gear slots, but it should be like primarily weapons. Should legendary weapons items remain base for the entire lifetime of Classic Plus? I mean, I think they should have a really good lifetime. A little bit torn on that. Like, I would say somewhere in the middle. Like, it should be really good for a really long time, but it's hard to say. I mean, I know that okay, Hand of Sulfuras, it gets replaced really fast. Thunder Fury, some people use all the way till TBC. Let's say yes. I'm leaning towards yes. Should every class get access to legendary weapons slash items? I think more or less yes. You should have something to strive towards. Should weapon skill remain in the game? No opinion. I mean, it's an RPG element. Can be annoying. I'm torn on that one. Like, I don't think it's a big deal. You could keep it, you could remove it. So, let's go with no opinion. What stats, if any, should be added to gear in Gear Classic, Gear in Classic Plus? I think the more stats that you have in MMO, the better in general, because it promotes different builds. Just they shouldn't be different stats shouldn't be overpowered. So there should be a good balance, but you should be able to go for a specific build, right? But like Armor Pen is OP, Expertise is OP. So I think they should find like a good balance. But I'm gonna click every single stat because I'm like a theory crafter, and I like building different the characters in a bunch of different ways, right? So should resistance remain as a stat? Yes. Again, the more stats, the better. Should gear score eye level be relevant stat? No, I hate that shit. And yes, I'm saying that's gamification again. Should healing power and spell power be combined into one stat? No, I think More stats the better. Should more diverse gear affixes be added? Of the soldier, of the sorcerer? Sure, why not? Should attack power, range, attack power be combined? No. More stats the better. Should crit and hit chance to be changed to a rating instead of flat percentage? Yeah, sure. It allows it so that an item can have like 0.5% crit if you want, as a item designer to do that. So why not? Should casters have a base stat that directly gives them spell power, like how strength gives attack power? I think it's defined it is right now. Should classic class have the ability to reforge your gear? Gamification. Again, no. All right. 2 more. And have stuff in early tiers, legendary smells for later tier stuff that entices later tier raiders and do not feel like you waste time in MC. Yeah, absolutely. I think they should give you incentive to return into the old raids. At the same time, it's kind of annoying if you have to do like 10 raids a week. But if you don't have to get world buffs, well, guess what? You have more time to raid, right? Mechanics. And then after that, it's the big one, the PvP, the thing that we care about, man. Okay. What version of layers would you want to see in Classic Plus? I mean, honestly, as I said, layers are a necessary evil. What I would love to see, my ideal scenario is the old school servers where there's no layers, one simultaneous reality for all players. That's what you want. That's what I want. Everybody wants this. Is it achievable? I don't think so, because you're gonna have people quitting the game, servers dying out. Yeah. I mean, this is my ideal scenario, but it's not gonna work. So let's actually say no opinion, because I'm kind of torn, actually. How would you feel if spell botching was in Classic Plus? Remove it. I think it's a little bit degenerate. It's cool, but you know, if it's cool when you vanish that death coil as a rogue, but it's like makes for a cool YouTube clip, YouTube Shorts clip, but I think they should modernize that part a little bit. How do you feel about the measures taken by Blizzard to prevent boosting within dungeons? I hate boosting, but the changes that they did in TBC are terrible. Terrible. So I like the idea of them. Well, I don't know. Solo farming in dungeons is also cool. Let's do no opinion. I like the idea that mages can like farm, or Proto Paladins can farm different dungeons solo. At the same time, I hate boosting. So, no opinion. We're torn on this. How would you feel if mob scale with your level in the open world? Absolutely horrible. Screw that no level scaling. No. No. Just absolutely not. I hate the scaling. We should have low level zones, high level zones, even though it makes it so that some zones are become irrelevant and some zones are inaccessible for you. You should still have the RPG journey. How do you feel about the various currencies in World of Warcraft? Use them when you need to, I think. It's okay. That's, I think currencies are fine. I think people freak out too much about currencies. What version of consumables would you want to see in Classic Plus? Maybe like TBC level consumes. I don't know. maybe this. I'm gonna go with this. Plus elixir food and more. Like, because it's cool to be able to have like a bunch of consumables and to improve your character with that, but at the same time it's like it adds so much to the required preparation. But it's like an RPG element, right? So not as restricted, not as limited in TBC, but not as extensive as in Classic, I think. Somewhere between that. Should Classic Plus increase the view distance of enemy nameplates? Still taking the survey. The survey is a huge, man. Yeah, we're almost done though. From vanilla range of 20 yards to how it is in TBC and beyond. I would say no. I say keep it as it is. I think it would ruin the immersion if you have nameplates everywhere. Should weapon skill remain a mechanic? I mean, we already took a question on this. I'm gonna say no opinion. It's a duplicate question. Okay, guys, the last part of the survey. And the most important one, the PvP. That's what we care about, okay? So let's go out with a bang, but let's close up this survey with a bang. And let's take a look at PvP. I think no war mode, make the choice on server select. War mode is a great solution for retail, but I think for classic, let's do server selection. Like, I really welcome to war mode on retail, because back 20 years ago when I made my original character, I did not really know what PvP even was. And I just chose a random server. And then I realized I love PvP, and then I couldn't switch because I was already committed to that server with that character in that community. I would not reroll, right? So when war mode eventually came in BFA, I was extremely happy, and I was basically, I would never leave war mode. How would you rate the original PvP ranking honor system Classic WoW? Degenerate 3. I almost got kicked out of elementary school because of it. How would you change the original honor system? Go back to the drawing board. Go back to the drawing board. I think you need something else. How would you feel if rank was uncapped, where upon hitting max rank you would continue to prestige, but gain no additional power? No. Would you want arena? Yes. Which arena would you want to see? 2v2, 3v3. I don't care about 5v5, but I would also want to see 1v1. How would you feel about 1v1 arena ranked dueling system? Yes. I mean, let me bet gold on the outcome. Huh. Gamba? I don't think we have to bet gold on the outcome. I'd be interested in seeing it for sure. Should he be able to Magor another player? Which would mean when the loser dies at the end of the duel, they're never able to resurrect. Dude, should we have Magora in Classic Plus? Duel for character. Dude, let's have it. Let's have that. Like, let's have people have beef with it. Dude, I feel like Magora would be even more impactful in non-hardcore servers. It would be even more of a spectacle. Because on hardcore servers, everybody comes in with the expectation that you're gonna die. And if you die, you can migrate to a softcore server. Here, nobody comes in with the expectation that you're gonna die. But if you get into beef that is so heavy that you really hate somebody, and that you would be able to duel them for the character, and the character is not even able to transfer to softcore realm anymore, it really gets deleted. Dude, I think that's some of the best content that could come out of Classic Plus. Very toxic, absolutely. Let's have it. This is gonna have some legendary crash outs. This is gonna be great for content. I would absolutely welcome that. Which of the following would you want to see on PvP gear? High level scaling, fuck that. Normalization, fuck that. PvP set bonus, yes, absolutely. PvP stats, absolutely. Disabling or tuning certain overpowered PvE weapons trinkets. No, I love the cross-pollination of PvE and PvP content. So I think you should have PvP items that are really good for PvE, and I think you should have PvE items that are really good for PvP, even best in slot in both directions. So absolutely, should keep that. Should dishonorable kills exist? No. Dishonorable kills suck. They're not interesting. And yes, they allow, to griefing of quest givers to be prevented, but, there are other ways to get around that. How important is that the Blizzard adds new battlegrounds to Classic Plus? Indifferent about that. Should more World PvP objectives be added? Yeah, I think so. Rate the following World PvP objectives. South Shore versus Taran Mill is great fun. I don't know what the sort stuff was, so I'm just gonna put all that the 3 because I didn't do those things. Watchtower control in APL, I mean that's just boring right now. Facility sense captures are just boring right now. World boss tags in warrior zones, absolutely great. Killing faction leaders, absolutely awesome. That's my opinion on that. How should the following combat mechanics function in PvP? Crowd control. I mean, dying in a stun is horrible, so I would say rework a little bit. Kind of funny that I'm saying this, but PvP should work a little bit closer to retail, where you don't die in a stun, I think. Fear pathing. I hate fears. Fuck warlocks, rework it. Heartbeat resist. Remove that. I think it should be more predictable. Diminishing returns. Keep it. Should resurrection timer be changed when you die repeatedly? I mean, this is like how to say it? This is how do you call it? Like that double-edged blade, right? That's what I'm looking for. Because if you die constantly, you get camped, you can't even rest. It's annoying. On the other hand, when you're like 1v3ing people like a Giga Chad, you don't want them to like keep coming back and like zerk you down. That, I mean, I think it's possibly okay as it is now. I'm a little bit torn on that though. Should rated BGs be added? I think no. Rated BGs are toxic. They create toxic communities. I hate the rated BG community. It's the like most toxic community in retail WoW. Absolutely horrible. They flamed my wife for being a woman. Just because she is a woman. They're absolutely toxic to everybody, even even if they're not women. I think rated BG should be restricted to arenas. And I don't think I don't say this only because the community is toxic. I think it's also rated BGs. I think were a cool idea to begin with, but getting 10 to 15 players together, and no, I just think it was a failed experiment. Armor says, I think PvP is toxic by design, not just rated BGs. Yeah, but rated BGs are like on another level, man. I did like Hero of the Alliance. I did rated BGs. I led multiple like guilds that did rated BGs. And just the egos, the toxicity, it was out of the world, out of this world. I think it brings the worst in people, and I don't think it's even fun because of the logistical aspect of it. So I would keep it to like 1v1, 2v2, 3v3 arena. Should Solo Shuffle be added to Classic Plus? No. Solo Shuffle is a failed experiment as well. Queue times are too long. Gamification. There you go again. Yeah. Should war games be added unrated pre-made versus pre-made? I mean, why not? It's a cool thing to do, like for streams, you know, for rivalries. Nothing bad about having that. Should players be allowed to toggle XP gain for PvP purposes? Twinking? I think twinking is cool. Why not? Should kills in PvP give XP? There's no way people won't abuse this. There's no way people won't get like a bunch of. I don't know. I love the idea though. I love the idea. The problem is people are gonna exploit this. They're gonna pay for like 5 accounts, and they're gonna farm their own characters repeatedly. How do you prevent them from doing that? How do you prevent this from becoming absolutely degenerate? I don't know, dude. Like, at the same time, I adore the idea of being able to level off of PvP. So how do you even do that? Dude, fuck it. I like that idea so much that I'm willing to I'm willing to make the game partially degenerate for that. I'm gonna say yes. Should the PvP trinket cooldown be reduced from 5 minutes? Yes. I think having a 2-minute PvP trinket in retail is essential. Feels horrible to die in a rogue stun. Let me tell you that. You guys have been seeing me die in stuns. 6-second stun from Paladin, 5-second stun from Rogue. You've been seeing me die in a stun the whole, like during my whole session today. So, and the previous PvP sessions. So, absolutely, I think it should be reduced. Should Battlegrounds, along with potentially Arena or new PvP content, be released weeks or months after launch or right at the jump? I don't feel strongly about this. As they say, give it some time. It's fun to start with open world PvP, progress into PGs. Sure. I'm like 50-50 on this. I think world PvP is fun, so let's do that. But I don't think they should delay it a whole lot. Let me tell you that. Like, maybe a week. Honestly. I don't even know. Maybe a week. I don't know. Or should he be able to just like level through BGs? Maybe. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on this. I don't know. I'm gonna say that one. Definitely not a Matia, no. Okay. Holy shit, we're done. We're done with the survey. So that I definitely wanna give a big shout out to whoever created the survey. Jordi, okay. Definitely a big project of this content creator. Much love to him. He's doing an insane job, okay? He's doing Blizzard's work for them. So thank you, Jordi, for this. And we're gonna, we're gonna continue with some AV now, and yeah, I'm gonna wrap up the video, okay? It's because obviously I'm gonna put this, upload the whole thing as a video on YouTube. So whoever is watching after the fact, appreciate you guys watching, and I'm gonna stop the recording here. I'm gonna keep the stream up. Hey, I'm a Cope, the Warcraft VTuber. I mostly stream, but once in a while I make a video just like this one. I would appreciate it if you could check out my other content right there and my stream right there. I stream both on YouTube and Twitch, so pick whatever you prefer. Alright, that's it. See you in the next one.